Welcome friends. In our last session, we discussed the process of developing the manufacturing strategy, and in developing the manufacturing strategy, we discussed that the manufacturing strategy or any functional strategy should be market driven strategy, and at that particular time we emphasized again and again that market and marketing are two different things. So, every functional strategy, whether it is a marketing or manufacturing or supply chain, any kind of functional strategy has to be market driven strategy. And we discussed a 5-stage process of developing the manufacturing strategy, and the first stage in that is to understand the market. Where are we now? Who are our customers? And this particular session is going to focus on that very aspect, that how do we understand our customers, who are our customers, and that is a very important thing. Many organizations, because of lack of clarity, they do not know that who are my customers, and they try to serve almost the whole spectrum of customers. And when you try to serve whole spectrum of customers, you cannot make your product suitable to a particular group of customers, and that becomes a major challenge for most of the organizations. Now, you take the example of some of the most successful organizations depending upon Fortune 500 list. Walmart, which is continuously since last 20 years is either at position number 1 or at position number 2 in the list of Fortune 500. Now, they are very clearly defined their market, they have very clearly understood their market, that we are going to serve the market which is looking for low priced products. So, they have designed their entire functional activities to meet the requirement of low pricing. How to reduce the cost of their operational activities? Why they have IT implementation, how do they do a stocking of the material, how do they place the orders, everything is surrounded with the idea of getting the low cost. On the other hand, you have the most profitable company of the world, that is the Apple, and the Apple company is also not serving the all customers looking for mobile phones or all customers looking for different types of electronic gadgets. They have also identified that we are going to serve only those customers who look for innovations. So, they know that my market is only for those customers who are looking for innovative products, and as a result of that, these customers are also ready to give some extra margins to these organizations, and as a result of that, even if you are not serving all types of customers in the mobile market, your profitability is number 1. You are within top 10 of the Fortune 500 companies, and within that your profitability is more than Walmart. So, what I am trying to say, that if you understand your market, and there is no need to serve the customers ranging from one end of a spectrum to another end of the spectrum, you need to identify that only this small group of customers I am going to serve, and that is possible. The kind of results which I just mentioned either about Walmart or about Apple are only possible when you understand your market properly. So, in this session we are going to focus on that very aspect, that how to understand your markets properly. Now, as I mentioned, that company needs to be market driven. This is the important thing, that we want our organizations to be market driven and not the marketing driven. Market driven means that I know who are my customer, and according to those requirements of the customer, I am able to develop my functional strengths. My functional strengths are meeting the needs of my market. That is the idea of market driven functional activities. So, if one functional activity is guiding another functional activity, then it will not be able to directly serving your customer. So, this is the first important point in understanding the market, and therefore, understanding market is also very important. Now, when we are going for this understanding of markets, there are few things which are very important to understand, and these things are: one important thing which is happening nowadays, the empowered customers. Our customers have become too much empowered. Empowered in the sense of their knowledge, empowered in the sense of their per capita income, which is continuously increasing, empowered in sense of their ability to interact with the other customers. So, they are having the customer communities, brand communities, and organizations like Royal Enfield, they are selling their products only using the concept of brand communities. So, customers are becoming very much empowered. The customers of past was not that empowered. The present customer is highly empowered. So, customer has become more demanding, customer is putting more pressure on the organization. As a result of that, it is more important for organizations of the present day to understand those increasing demands of your customers. So, that is the important characteristic of your market, that you cannot take your customer for granted. You need to thoroughly understand the needs of your customers. So, this is point number 1. The point number 2 is heterogeneity. The heterogeneity of the market is continuously on rise. Earlier, most of the customers used to have same type of products, very limited varieties were there in the market. But nowadays, you will see that each customer want to have a different type of product. On the streets of Delhi itself, you will be surprised that more than 130 different types of vehicles are running. Now, when you have this high level of heterogeneity, it is putting another kind of pressure on the functional activities. You cannot standardize your manufacturing operations, and therefore, the development of concepts like FMS, flexible manufacturing system, is highly appreciated, because our manufacturing systems were very bulky, they were not easily changeable, but thanks to concepts like FMS, because of which you can provide different types of variety with very low volume. So, heterogeneity among the customers, within a family different persons require different types of product attributes. So, this concept of heterogeneity is continuously increasing in the modern market, and everywhere you see each one of us has different types of mobiles, each one of us wear different types of sunglasses, each one of us wear different types of watches, each one of us wear different types of shoes. So, there is, we all want to be unique. So, this urge of being unique is creating this heterogeneity in our society, and that heterogeneity is putting lot of pressure on the functional activities also. So, this becomes the second important characteristic of our current markets. The third important characteristic is lack of patience. To fulfill this criteria of lack of patience, now marketers, the functional roles are trying to become more and more responsive. More and more responsiveness is required to support the idea of lack of patience, but there is a limit for lack of patience. We want everything within the fraction of seconds. If I just speak, immediately I want solutions. I am not ready to wait, and this condition is also continuously increasing. And our functional roles, manufacturing, operations need to adjust, need to be flexible enough to fulfill the requirement of this high degree of responsiveness. But there are always some kind of physical limits. You cannot increase the responsiveness to the level of infinity. So, what is that maximum level of responsiveness which you can provide to your customer? And obviously, any additional degree of responsiveness will only come with additional cost. If you increase the responsiveness to a very high level, the cost will also increase, and customer is not ready to pay that additional cost. So, that is another challenge, that if it is only responsiveness, you can provide a full factory for a particular family, that only for this family the products will be made in this factory. But we can very well understand that this is never possible, because then the cost of production will become so high that even the most affluent family will not be able to afford it. So, we want high degree of responsiveness, but we also do not want a very high level of costing for that purpose. So, you need to have a trade off in this case. So, that is another challenge for the manufacturing, that how to fulfill this idea of lack of patience, how to provide that high degree of responsiveness following other trade offs also. Then another challenge which is coming on not only on manufacturers, but on all functional areas in our organizations, that is the smaller product life cycles. Product life cycle, we all know, has 4 different stages: the introduction, the growth, the maturity, and finally decline. So, these are the 4 different stages in life of a product. Earlier, product life cycles may span up to 20 years for an example, but nowadays these product life cycles are becoming as small as 2 years, or in some cases even for 1 year also. So, product life cycles are also excusing day by day, and when product life cycles are excusing, these are additional pressure on our functional activities. You have to design new products at a much faster rate. So, your new product development function has to be more activated than in the previous years. Your manufacturing facilities should be flexible enough to regularly change the dies, the fixtures, the toolings, so that you can make new types of designs. Your supply chains need to align quickly for the new products. So, all the functional activities require new or very high level of you can say agility, so that you can fulfill the requirement of a smaller product life cycle. And as a result of that, we are talking of agile manufacturing, we are talking of agile supply chains, so that if agility is high, you can fulfill the requirement of a smaller product life cycles. So, we discussed some of the challenges which are emerging in our current markets, and by understanding these characteristics of the market, you will be able to develop, or this is the first step in the development of your manufacturing strategy. Now, as we discussed these challenges which are very generic in nature, which can be applied for the discussion of any functional area of the business, but if I particularly talk in terms of operations strategy and the manufacturing strategy, what is happening here? Now, in this particular field, the description of market, which is the first important thing, we are discussing about understanding the markets. Now, most of the description of markets are given in vocabulary of marketing function. We are not able to give the descriptions of the market in terms of or in the views of other functional activities. So, that is the current practice, that market descriptions are limited to the views of marketing, but not to the views of HR, not to the views of supply chain, not to the views of operations activities, not to the views of IT activities. So, we need market descriptions in terms of other functional activities also. Now, because you are only providing market inputs for the marketing department, so you do not get the complete insight of the market. You get only limited insight of market which is relevant to the marketing activities. So, that is also a challenge which is for other functional areas, that how to understand your market. Since the market description is coming only for the marketing department, and therefore, you all other functional areas, whether it is manufacturing, supply chain, IT, HR, etc., they are dependent on marketing department or marketing functional area to know the customer. So, what is happening right now? Actually, we want that if this is market, so different functional areas like operation, like HR, like marketing, they are able to understand the customer properly, and then they come together to develop a cohesive functional level strategy. But since the market descriptions are limited to the views of marketing, so what is happening? This is market, market is giving inputs to the marketing function, and then marketing function is providing inputs to HR and operation, etc. And therefore, these HR, operations, IT, innovation, all are reactive to the requirements of market. Whatever marketing will say, they will follow accordingly. So, the challenge is that marketing is also a functional level area. So, we want to make this entire process as follows, that this is the current practice, and we want this is the desired one, where market studies or functional labels can directly study the market. And since the entire description of market is coming for the marketing department or marketing functional area, so the complete words, phrases, etc. are also in terms of marketing only, and therefore, the other functional area feels that they are not properly served by the market, they do not have enough information about the market, and that is also a challenge. So, this is the current practice, and therefore, we need to see that how marketing also comes in alignment with other functional areas. Now, what approach to follow to understand the market? We understood the challenges, we understood what is the current situation. Now, how we can improve upon it when we want to know our markets? The first important thing is avoid some kind of generic terminologies. Some of the examples of generic terminologies are, these are the examples. that we want to be a highly customer service oriented organization. So, this is a very generic word, generic phrase, that customer service oriented organization. If I am talking of functional level involvement, we need to avoid these generic terms. We need to be very specific that what I mean by customer service oriented organization. What are the things, what are the strategic tasks? If you remember our previous session where we discussed that we need to convert these values into the strategic task. So, if I want to be a customer service oriented organization, what do I mean by that? I want an organization which is providing superior quality products. Now, what do I mean by superior quality products? All organizations want to be of good quality products. So, what is my definition of quality? Similarly, I want to have a very reliable system of delivery. What is the meaning of reliable system of delivery? So, these are the generic words and we need to convert these generic words into specific words and phrases, so that something actionable is possible. Then another thing is which is applicable across the functional activities, that is the long list, because if you are having so many things to do in your list, then it is a poor strategic process. You need to have some very specific agenda, you need to have some very specific goals that you want to do. If you want to do everything, that means this word strategy is missing out of your activities. Strategy means that you have identified some very specific issues, capabilities on the basis of which you want to leverage. But if you have a very long list, in that list you have operations, you have inventory, you have supply chain, you have IT, you have IoT, it means it is not a good strategic choice. So, you have to be very specific in making your wish list, that what I am going to do. Then the second important thing is separate out order winners and qualifiers. The concept of order winner and qualifier is the central theme of manufacturing strategy, and we are going to have some 3-4 specific sessions only on understanding the characteristics of order winners and qualifiers, and we will also study some of the important order winners and qualifiers separately. So, at this point it is important to understand that few attributes of your product which will help you to qualify to a particular market. If you have a particular level of performance, so you qualify to be in the market, but only that performance is not sufficient. But if you have low pricing with that performance, then you can go for selling of your product. So, you need to separate out that in a particular market what are the attributes which are qualifiers, what are the attributes which are winners. So, that is the second important thing to follow. And then all qualifiers and winners may not of equal importance. So, you may assign some weights to different order winners and qualifiers. Some are very sensitive qualifiers, some may not be that sensitive qualifiers. Some may be very important winners, some may not be that important winners. So, you need to assign different weightage to qualifiers and order winners, and according to those weightage you will decide that how to manage your order winners and qualifiers. And with this you will see that we will come to end of this session, where we have discussed that market is the starting point of developing the manufacturing strategy, and we need to develop a direct contact from the market for all the functional level strategy, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is marketing, whether it is HR or whether it is IT. So, all these functional level strategy then can come into a overlapping loop, and then it will provide inputs to business level strategy, and then it will go to the corporate level strategy. So, you can have a two-way process where you can follow the corporate level strategy is coming down to functional level strategy, and from the functional level strategy you are providing inputs to your business level strategy and corporate level strategy, and all these things are market driven. Since functional people are in touch with the market, therefore, the role of functional people or functional strategies are very important in providing inputs to your business level and corporate level strategy. So, we discussed in this session another very important concept, that is the concept of order winner and qualifier. This is going to be the basis of our discussions in the future classes, because we need to develop those order winners and qualifiers in our products which can help us in winning the orders in the market at a proactive rate. So, that is for the session. Thank you very much.